where, now it started with the name called peer-to-peer lending, whereby an individual can loan directly to another individual, but the loan is placed through what is called a platform, whereby there are many borrowers and there are many lenders. This form of lending is not new anymore, because I recall 15 years ago or thereabout, I've already been approached by companies in Singapore who have started this business model of lending by way of a platform for P2P lending. Yeah, so it was a very simple website whereby the company will put all the borrowers who want to borrow onto a website with many lines of listing in terms of how much the borrower is looking for, and how much are they willing to pay for interest costs, and what duration they are willing to borrow. Anyway, at that time there was no app, I remember. Okay, so smartphone was only in the last 10 years. So 15 years ago there was only website on the internet, and that was really quite new. And the platform charges again a fee for matching the two sites. But unfortunately, the model is still very new at the time, and not many people are interested because of a lot of default and a lot of failure on the part of the borrower to repay. So I think the model in Singapore for P2P was not really quite accepted in that sense for consumer peer-to-peer lending. And then the second version of that was that where the borrowers are not just individual, but they actually borrow by way of their company, looking for a short-term business loan from individual or from another company. Okay, so now we fast forward now, okay, 15 years later to today, what is happening now in the world? The trend in terms of P2P lending has grown very, very rapidly throughout many parts of the world and many countries, especially in the third world and the developing countries. There are two different, I would say, influences why P2P lending is still very active today and has fostered the growth of this industry. I saw some big numbers earlier on, but like I said, I can still send it out later on if you like. But the number is still growing at a rate of about compound rate over the last 10 years, easily at a rate of about 10 to 12% per year. Well, there are P2P platforms and lending in countries like America and the European countries. The one that is sprouting up much faster growth is places like, for example, Africa. In places like Nigeria, in places like Uganda, in places like South Africa, where the people in the rural area have no access to banking or to banking loans. However, in some places like China, where P2P at one point in time, like 15 years ago, was booming quite a lot in terms of their expansion, but because of government crackdown, it's almost become zero in China. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is that because in P2P in China, there were many scandals and many malpractices whereby the platform itself, they organize the lender and the borrower, and the money is actually siphoned to their own company rather than actually placing up to the borrower. So this led to a very, very negative impression in the marketplace about P2P platform, because people associate P2P lending to be a lot of scandal, to be a lot of scams, to be a lot of cheating, and a lot of mistrust for this kind of P2P lending companies, especially small ones.